Welcome to Week 4 Fantasy Wall Street with the Professor. Week 3 is history, and so are some players off your roster. Professor, who's the first guy you're getting rid of this week?
Oh boy, this is a great way to start the show, Kyle. Who are we selling this week? Who's top of the list? Interestingly, it's one of the guys who was probably near the top of the list last year for ads, and that is Mr. Carson Steele with the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, I mean, look, it's not that that he didn't have a fairly successful first NFL start. We saw 17 carries for 72 yards. Not too bad. Here's my concern, Kyle. It's that he wasn't utilized really at all in the passing game. We also just saw this week they've elevated Kareem Hunt to the active, off the practice squad onto the active roster. The Chiefs, additionally, the Chiefs have the worst or one of the worst remaining fantasy schedules for running back. So I think, even this past week, we saw some IGP Ryan take a lot of the early down work, the 2-minute work, and Steele was not necessarily leaned on the way that the team was utilizing Isaiah Pacheco. So again, while he had a good first NFL start, it's good enough in my eyes to try and move him for somebody who is running back desperate. Maybe the guy or team who owns Pacheco would be a great person to target in a trade. But I'm looking to move off of him now because I'm not really sure his value is going to be any higher than it is this week.
Oh, I agree with you. I think Kareem Hunt comes in and has a really big role. Hopefully, nobody went and spent all their fab money or spent a top waiver priority spot on Carson Steele, knowing he was going to be a short-term thing. And I don't think a ton of people probably did, knowing Kareem Hunt was eventually going to get elevated and win that and get that spot. But there were some that did. And if you did, take the professor's advice and trade him immediately. All right, Professor, player number 2.
Number 2. So I think in order to have a successful fantasy season, you've got to be really savvy, right? That's why we do the show, buys and sells. Got to be really savvy on moving players at the right time. And this one may take kind of a little more ice in your veins, I guess, to do, especially considering the way that the tight end market looks these days and, pretty bleak. If it's me and I own Dallas Goedert, boy, I am trying to move this guy. I am shopping him around to a team who is maybe a little tight end desperate, whoever drafted Mark Andrews or Kelsey or with all of the injuries that we've kind of seen take place. Kittle went down. This is a guy for me. What we saw was probably could be the best game for a tight end the entire season, but it's a little bit of a mirage. Goddard's target share is typically not very high. We are going to see A.J. Brown come back. Most of his targets, 9 of his targets happened after Devonta Smith went out. And so don't know what the injury situation is going into this weekend with Smith and A.J. Brown. But this, for me, is taking Goddard and selling him at an absolute high and getting a player or players that are going to be tremendous value for you on the season. Because this guy, it's going to be a very, very short period of time here where we see him hold this type of value.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. Plus, I'm trading him because he's an Eagle. All right, give us your third guy there, Mr. Professor.
Yeah, so my last one, a little bit of a surprise to me, actually. Didn't expect him to produce the way he did, especially over the first 3 weeks of the season. Week 3, we saw his best week through the 24 season, and that is Stefon Diggs. Wasn't really a big fan with him in this Texan offense, especially considering where he was normally valued when he was with the Bills. But we saw him catch 10 passes for 94 yards. Nico kind of took a little bit of a step back, and Tank Dell has been a little bit overlooked. And so I think my concern is that the future of this offense really is Nico Collins and Tank Dell. We know Tank Dell and Stroud's best friends is Tank Dell. He pounded the table for him for the Houston Texans to draft him last year. We know that they also have a special connection. For me, this is a great opportunity to try and sell high on Stefon Diggs. I don't think, based on how this offense is built, we also, we're going to see a Mixon come back as well. Mixon ran the ball 30 times in week 1. And so, the targets might not be there for Diggs, especially as these other players start to come on. And so I'm really selling Diggs now. And incidentally, I'm also buying Dell, because I think this is a great time to buy a guy who, for all intents and purposes, really should be a wide receiver too. Just has not stepped up so far this year, but I expect that to change.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that'll change. I definitely, coming into the season, did not expect Diggs to be playing as well as he has so far. But like you said, I think that ends up swapping. But hey, the professor with the bonus buy there on Tank Dell, nice little extra nugget. Hopefully you watched the whole video and you caught that. So, hey, go get rid of these guys. Go buy Tank Dell. Good luck in week 4, and we'll see you next week. Thanks, Professor.
Thank you, Kyle.